Hello guys, me Austin Dawson, and today in this video I will be doing the predictions for the MLB 16 postseason. So let's get on it. Okay, the AL wild card. Um, as you can see, Detroit lost. They lost it against Atlanta, but Toronto won, and Baltimore won anyway. So basically, Toronto has home field advantage against Baltimore. This one is very hard to pick, but this one's pretty tough. But probably it will be Baltimore. I was Baltimore because they have some really good hitting power. Adam Jones, Mark Trumbo, Chris Davis. They just can't be stopped. And there's no way Toronto is going to beat that. They're at home. They might have the fans on their side and atmosphere, but I think Toronto with their hitting power. I don't know how, but I think Toronto's been struggling lately. I'm not sure, but that's what I think. Moving on to the other wild card, we have the San Francisco Giants against the Mets. See the Cardinals. They won today, but since San Francisco won today, it didn't matter. So Cardinals are out, and basically San Francisco gets the Mets. Honestly, you know how it is. San Francisco back and forth. They make the playoffs, win the World Series. They miss the playoffs the next year. Then next year they win the World Series. With where they always make the wild card. So honestly, I'm going with the Giants because the Giants, they have a good team. Madison Gumbar, they have a really good team. Plus the Posey, and once again, and the Mets, even though they made the World Series last year, I still think they're a little bit too young, and San Francisco is more veteran, more prepared, and I think San Francisco's a better team. So let's excuse me. Moving on, Boston will be. No, sorry, not Boston. Excuse me. So Texas will be against Baltimore. Okay, so I think Texas against Baltimore. I think Texas will win that series. I think Texas will win in 5 games. It's gonna be a back and forth matchup. I think Texas has the handle there, and they're really good this year. 95 wins. They got a handle. I think they're gonna win this year. I think they're gonna win it. So moving on. So it's gonna be Cleveland against Boston, and I think Boston will win it. Boston has made the playoffs many times before. Cleveland, they made the playoffs a couple of years ago, but they won the wild card. They lost in the wild card. So I think they're too new at this. I think that they're having a really good year. I still think that Boston will be more prepared at this, and it will be. I think it'll also be in 5 games. I think it'll be back and forth. It's gonna be a good series, and I think Cleveland will be on top. So moving on to the next series, the National League, we have the Chicago Cubs against the Giants, which that's gonna be a big series. Especially the Cubs have 103 wins, the first time since 1945, which they made the World Series. They didn't win it, but they made the World Series. And honestly, this one's gonna be probably the hardest one to predict. I think out of the whole series, I think it's been probably one of the hardest ones because the Cubs, they want to do better. They want to make the World Series, and the Giants, they do it every other year. So I am going to pick the Chicago Cubs. I think the Cubs will win it. I think they'll shock people. Honestly, I know the Cubs have more wins, but I think the Cubs are more the underdogs. The reason why I say it is because think about it. The Giants have won, what is it, 3 World Series in the last, what, 5, 6 years? Last 6 years, I think. So, and the Cubs, they just started looking good last year. So, I think that, I think the Cubs will win it though. I think the Cubs will win it 5 games. And I keep saying 5 games, but all these series look like they're going to be close. So, that's what I think. Alright, moving on. Washington Nationals against the LA Dodgers. No, I'm gonna pick Washington on this one. The reason was Dodgers, they always choke in the playoffs. Just think about it. They've been choking in the playoffs for a while now. They just can't get over the hump. I think yet again it's gonna be another disappointing season for the Dodgers. And I think this will go in 4 games. I think Washington will pull it on top. Actually, this one's going to be also a good series. It's going to be very interesting because the Nationals also struggle too. But I think the Nationals are going to get over the hump this time instead of the Dodgers. That's what I think is going to happen. So moving on, it will be the Chicago Cubs against the New York Mets. Where the National League is. So yeah, yeah. No. Sorry. Apologize. No, not the New York. Sorry. Washington Nationals against Chicago Cubs. My bad. And this won't be tough, but I'd say Chicago will win this in 6 games because Washington is not gonna. Not other than they're not gonna get a. Not other than they're not going to make. They're not gonna win the World Series after failing the first round repeatedly. So I think they'll just win the first round and then fail the next round, the championship round. It'll be in 6 games. It'll be a good competitive series. But I also think that Washington, their offense isn't as good, and the Cubs have a very good offense team, plus their catcher Chapman. So I think they'll pull it off. But it'd still be a good year for the Nationals. So moving on, it will be Boston against Texas in the American League Championship round. And the winner of that one will. This one's a tough one, too. Texas against Boston. Boston does have the best offense probably in the league, next to the Cubs, and next to Baltimore as well. So, honestly, I think it will go to Boston. I think this one will go to Boston. Because Texas, they just don't have anything. They're just not that championship team, especially if they failed twice in the World Series. I believe one time against the Giants, I think. And I know the other one's against the Cardinals. I know they blew that series. I know that. So I think Texas will lose. But it's not a bad season for Texas because they look bad the last couple years. So, it's pretty good for Texas. So I think Boston and the Cubs are going to be in the World Series. And who I pick to win the 2016 World Series? I will pick the Chicago Cubs. And I think this is the year the Chicago Cubs will win the World Series. The hump is over. I think it's been 107 years. It's been a long time. A very long time. And the Cub fans, including myself, will rejoice. And people can finally relax. The biggest, the biggest, the biggest hump ever. Like any team. There's no, like over 100 years. It's crazy. They haven't won the World Series in forever. It's been a long. No one's even alive. So I think the Cubs will win. I think it's going to be in 7 games, very competitive, and we know Boston's going to have a home field advantage. Oh, wait. Yes, 7 games, because Boston has home field advantage. I think that they'll probably win game, but it'll be a good competitive series. I think Chicago's going to have the lead in the series, and Boston's probably going to win game 6, make it 3-3, and then Chicago's going to win on the road. That's what I think. And then finally, everybody's going to rejoice. All I say is the Cubs better not jinx it. Because they did that in 2008. They jinxed it. And then everything went wrong and they lost. But I think this time, it is very different in Chicago. They will win it. So guys, that's my MLB 16 postseason predictions. So I think the Cubs will face against the Red Sox and win. And I think Chicago will win 7 games. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe for more. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Hope you guys have a nice day. And see you guys next time. Peace.